It's a good morning to you. Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzele Ndebele and this is the Breakfast Club. Once in a while or once a week, we bring you a historical installment where we talk to former members of Zipra, ZAPU. The idea being we want to enrich our history, to understand what happened in the liberation struggle, because kuthiwa abantu abangayaziyo imbali yabo abawazi lapho abayakhona. So if we don't know where we come from, we might not appreciate some of the things that are happening, and we might not know where we are going. So it is important to understand our history, but also to pay particular serious respect to those who played a big role in the history of the liberation struggle. You are the group that was arrested and referred to as renegades.
Yes, please.
Labo Vicente.
Yes, Vicente.
Labo Vicente and the other. So what I find interesting is that that narrative, Yoguti, when you were told to ceasefire, did you believe it, or you guys just didn't want to go?
No, you know what? There were really two statements by Margaret Thatcher, who was in charge of the colonial administration that was supposed to give us independence. I still remember in the operational area when they were preparing to go to Lancaster Stocks. One statement, she talked about the West having set tax and allowed communists to take power in Angola. I think if you go through some of the books written before, you can find that statement. Then on our own, that was maybe a direct attack to ZAPU, where she said, regardless of the results of elections, she was going to hand over power to someone whom she saw fit to rule the country. So that one affected us, that's on the ground. Maybe one will not just defy orders as such, but we're looking at situations that were prevailing on the ground. At the same time, we did not know that the course has changed. I personally, up to now, don't think that I fought the war for other people. Okay. I think I talked to that during our training, we were privileged to have our vice president. She's talking to us. Is one person who taught us that you fight through in a revolution. We were never told that we're fighting to give our win to other people. It's simple. As I was saying, our group was maybe one of the luckiest of its kind that during our training, we were visited by the Vice President, Joseph Moore himself, teaching us what a revolution is. If I still remember very well, he was saying that we don't compromise in a revolution, you fight through. Having listened to speeches by Margaret Thatcher, we could see that we were not going anywhere. It wasn't a secret that ZAPU was supported by the Soviets. And most of the talk was on anti-communist rhetoric. Unless leadership maybe it explained to us what was really happening, why were we then to go to assembly point? Mind you, the same assembly point issue, the South African, we had information that the South Africans wanted it in Namibia, and a lot of Namibia People Liberation Army soldiers were killed at assembly points. So all those factors were considered, and we decided to stay put. Unfortunately, the leadership sent a Khoi force to round us up. I still remember even the deputy chief of operations, Charles Gray himself, was there. I was the first one to be arrested, I would say, because I was called for a meeting. There was one battalion that was commanded by Clive Mkandla. That was Zipra 2nd Battalion, Kwai. I went there for a discussion. I was told to leave my weapon at the gate. I talked to the battalion commander, but the battalion chief of staff was my coursmate at Membesh. He was Rockford. His real name was Elliot Love. We came together from Kwanda. So when I said, no, let me go and tell others out. When I wanted to go out, the RP system, because those were regular battalions. So I said, RPs, bring my weapons. So they said, no, we've been told not to give you the weapons. So I couldn't go out. Then they also refused me to go out until I think Madliwa came with Charles Gray. I think we were then taken to Cholocho prison. I think we were about 5. I almost died in Cholocho prison. I don't know whether I was attacked by malaria or what, but I think Stanford Matalo Komolo is still alive. He can confirm that. I remember them taking me from cells to the hospital. I started vomiting thereafter. I think I went off, but I survived at the hospital. Thereafter, some of the guys were caught, were then taken to Kami prison. Then from Kami prison, I think we stayed there for 2 or 3 months, I can't remember.
So this is like 1980?
Yeah, 1980. Then we went to Kwai. At Kwai, where inside camp, I think that was a mining area. It is an outer space where battalions were deployed, but our group was sort of confined inside, where maybe we were really treated like what enemies are supposed to. We were not armed, but we were just confined. Our movement was restricted. It was only one day that around October, I was integrated with the 1-3 battalion that was commanded by then Chaugi. Actually, I was just taken at night when trucks were already packed, taking people to Zeteme and Kinfall. I didn't even know where I was going to. So I was just told, jump into the truck. I went as far as Kinfall. Those officers were the regular officers at Kwai, they were taken to Zeteme. So at Kinfall was doing some NSO, NCO management course. While it's present Zeteme area, they were doing the management thing, or officers management thing. So
So the NCO stood for what?
Non-commissioned officers.
Okay.
Non-commissioned officers. For it, ZMA was doing the officers themselves. So one day I saw Skoki. He came to pick me to ZMA. Was put in the same stream with the Christopher Dube, the town clerk now. After integration, no, when we left ZMA, I think there was a selection of officers from Zipra and Zandla. I was one of those officers selected when we were told that we were going to do some parachute training. I still remember from Zipra side, it was now, we called him Rita, he's Brigadier Chum. I think he commands for brigade now. Bullet Success is now late, and the Major Moyo, used to stay Mkanuni, is now late. I think the only surviving Zipra member of our group, but Rita, he went to do that course. The battalion was assembled here at the Llewellyn Barracks. 1-3 officers went to base at Glenville. I and one Zandla guy, Washington Shwandamira, were posted to military police. I was posted to directorate, but then we were tasked at 1 brigade here, 1 pro. We were supposed to do our course at SMP. Then Tumban 1, we were posted after Tumban 1, but we did not go to Para after Tumban 1. Then we were posted to military police. Then Tumbane 2 Massive came on, we were doing the course at SMP. I remember this Zanda Kayachwanambira, he looked for me at night. He never saw me because 1 brigade officers was under renovation. I changed the post, but when I woke up in the morning, I saw one of the Zipra. It's not armored, not an armored, it wasn't an armored fighting vehicle, but it was a troop carrying vehicle. 3 of them were destroyed, I think. My comrades inside there was just charcoal. So after the course, I was posted to the Tempe Directorate now as a GSO3 operations and training. And the director there, the full colonel, was Jimmy Mandu. The man himself was from Zipra. I think he took over military intelligence from Abel Mazinyan. Explaining that structure, I don't even know how NSO was structured, because up to now, still give us a lot of problems. So I worked there until I was posted sometime late 82 or early 83 to a company. We used to call it 7 Pro within KG6. But now the compound is called Tararete Street. It's one that polices army headquarters there and units that are under army headquarters. I was never there long, because in March 83, I came here as a paying officer. At 1 brigade. As paying officer, directorate was 7 Pro. There were 2 units that we were also supposed to come in Blawayo, that is IMTP and the School of Military Police. Those units had no officers. They were being commanded by ex-rotation non-commissioned officers, but now in the ZNA. So when I came here, that's why I met one instant that I didn't understand what was really happening. Maybe Gukurahundi started or what was happening. I saw the way some Zipra officers under command to Timpala that were arrested. I saw them at the officers' mess. And the Malikwa, now General Kumal, was one of the commanders under Timpala. They were being escorted. One guy there was the adjutant, is late Captain CIA, but retired Lieutenant Colonel. So I just asked what was happening. Then someone said they were arrested for killing a dissident. But I then passed the comment, how can one arrest officers killing a dissident? Maybe that is where my problem also started, I don't know. So from there, those officers were taken to army detention parade. They were detained there. After paying SMP, I went to army TP and talked to a ZAPU Mitchell who was in charge of army detention barracks. See and talk to any of those officers, but I had wanted to talk to the commanding officer, now late Brigadier Mpale. He was a lieutenant colonel by then. I was told the number of his cell. I went there. There are those small walls. I don't know what the present people called. Let's see what. He was there. I opened it. He was there. Tried to talk to him. Was badly beaten. As I talked to him, he would cough, spit blood. I left him. I went to the other cell numbers that I had given for General Kumal, and the other officer was engineer. This major engineer is also late. As I was about to talk to them, the ZAPU sent someone to call me back because the so-called investigators or interrogators were coming to them. So I left. I paid and went back to Harare. My arrival in Harare was also made by one accident where I saw Stanley Kakisa and we called him Major Ndebele, but I don't know his first name, but we called him Chikirema during our training. He was one of our instructors. They were badly beaten up, still putting on their rings. Stanley Kakisa said it was as if it was crushed, it was oozing. I left straight to the director's office and advised him what I've seen in Bulawayo and what I was seeing now inside HKGC's complex.
So who was the Director General?
The director was the Colonel man that I talked about, Director of Metropolis. You know, maybe I look like an outsider to some of those Zipra people. Metropolis, some of the intelligence guys, military intelligence and CIO, the integration from Zipra were those who were with NSO or civilian police. So in my case, I was Zipra infantry. So I think I was a mixed fit there. So he just told me that in the Zoguma battalions is Usandipindira. But maybe having gone through a bit of military law, the Defense Act and the disciplinary regulations, and knowing again from our Zipra side that it was a taboo to assault your subordinates. But those were not even subordinates, but officers being abused by their juniors to a certain extent. It was out of military custom. Then on, I think the ZAPU president must have fled this country, I can still remember, between 10 or 12 January, I think. No, 12 March 1983. So in my case now, I was arrested on 30 March 1983. What happened was the GSO2 Zetembi Territories, now late Mejamo, they called him Mejamo Chikananda or Makawi. He came with one officer who was military intelligence at Harare district, which is KG6, which is in KG6, but administers some Harare-based units. That captain was Kutesera. I don't know what is his rank now. I was called by a Sergeant Major Machemba. That guy was ex-SAS. He just came to me and said the GSO2 wants you outside. I went to them. On arrival, the G2 would tell the intelligence captain that India Malikwa, meaning this is Malikwa. So the captain came to me and said, you are wanted by the Director of Military Intelligence. I really asked him for what. He said no, he didn't know. We then drove from the unit where I was working. We passed through Camp Hospital. We collected one corporal, Francis, unfortunately the guy is late. We drove straight to Caprit Barracks. So at Caprit Barracks, that is where the intelligence captain then told me that he has some instructions from the Director of Military Intelligence to place me under arrest. I asked him why. He then said no, he didn't know. He's also waiting for further instructions from the Director of Military Intelligence. He left Caprit Barracks. As he left, there were some junior soldiers there who point blank asked me, I was a captain by then, with the captain intended to fill a rank remained. I was removed ranks. As I was to be put inside cells, that officer was back again, saying he has been instructed to take me to Brigade. You know, at Brigade there's two intelligence companies that is organic to Brigade. Then come what they call Army Counterintelligence unit. So I was put into the car room. It was almost towards lunch. They took this Corporal Sizeva first. We were then separated. Then that was towards 1400 hours, still on 31st of March One intelligence officer came. I later knew to be a Lieutenant Ruat Marufu. This Ruat Marufu is the beast that handed over Grace Mugabe to Mugabe on their wedding day. I call him a beast because I've never seen a cruel human being to other human beings like that person. I later learned from some of the intelligence officers that I befriended during our course of operation in the army that the guy really worked at Capriti Barracks, but he was a torture for hire to these other units where you will torture and kill Zipra members or torture until they soil themselves. Then you will be very happy. The guy came to me when I was under guard of 2 corporals. He gave them some cigarettes. He lit his on. I was told to remove my shirt. So as they smoked, they started burning me with their cigarettes. His first question to me was, what do you Ndebelers want in Zimbabwe? I never answered the question. Up to now, I cannot answer that question. What do Ndebelers want in Zimbabwe? He asked me where Joshua Nkomo was. And normally, as it appeared on papers, Joshua Nkomo was already in London by then. Then I saw it is in London. They said, who told you that? Answered, I read it from newspapers. Then he had to say, then we will crush Zipra first and later crush the mercenaries that Nkomo had gone to organize in London. Started beating me, kicking me. Then he directly accused me to have given ZAPU information on roadblock status, on where roadblocks are deployed in the country. That must help ZAPU to move Nkomo out without being seen. I think maybe he realized the time when some of his colleagues were starting to open office. He then told me to put on my shirt. I was then moved to an office where there were 2 majors. Major Charles Marita was also known as the Kote Muroparenyika Soviet. I think it was his pseudonym. And the Charles Okoyo. These 2 majors are still alive. But Okoyo is now a retired colonel. Mareza could be a retired major general.
It was called Charles Okoye?
Yeah, Charles Okoyo, yes. The other one was Charles Mareza. I was still with Lieutenant Marufu, and there was one Lieutenant Kuzanga. I think this Kuzanga is late. Then a 202 Maveve or Maveve, but it's Maveve. I don't know how they pronounce it. Then some other 2 sergeants, I did not pick up their names. I was made to sit down on the floor. So they just started, I think it was Marufu himself. He said, tell us. Then I asked, telling you what? Tell us, telling you what? Then Okoyo interjected and said, what ZAPU is planning to do. I said, no, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not ZAPU, I'm in the army. can say it, what Zipra is planning to get. No, Zipra is far, I think Zipra was disbanded by then. All of our members were demobilized by then. That's it. As far as I was concerned, there was no Zipra. No, you are joking. Then I was asked the political role that was being played by Zipra officers by name Charles Gray, Colonial Apubasutu, I think is now Air Force General, is ambassador in Japan. Ed Skoke, King Matita. King Matita was a major by then. There was one or two officers that I did not know, Adonia Moyo. And the Max, I did not know those people. Then I said, no, I didn't know anything. I was further asked how many meetings yet I attended at the Oasis Motel being chaired by Charles Gray or Apubasutu.